Matt does digital arts. Subscribe, like, and watch. Oh, that looks cool. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 1 of this tutorial. I'm going to do some ibisPaint drawing. Everyone uses ibisPaint. Many people in the world uses ibisPaint. People use Photoshop, GIMP, Clip Studio Paint, Blender even, but I'm trying to do 2D software. So this is going to be, I've been using this software apart from Sketch Club and Infinite Painter and all these other softwares on the mobile phone. Ever since 2013 until now, I've been doing digital art. I know family hates me about it. Should get a job, but I like to do digital art. It's my special thing. So it's my hobby as well. Translates to my hobby. I'm thinking of doing more traditional art in the future. I want to have a career, not as an engineer, but as an artist mainly. Just experimenting. I like to show you a tutorial. I'm new to YouTube. Obviously, I've been addicting to watching YouTube videos for a long time. I've been following some artists as well. Haven't really been collaborating or speaking to them on a personal level, but you should see them. There's a whole community of artists as well on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, digital communities. Everyone collaborates with each other, and there's also people on Twitter who used to do commission back when Twitter was a thing that artists used to use as a platform, like DeviantArt, to share their artwork on DeviantArt. They will also use link trees as well, and they will have Patreons and communities associated with more communities. And I've just been following those, how they do it for a while. And also this hobby, I've started off doing 3D art, like drawing in 3D perspectives, and now I'm trying to do 2D, focus more on 2D drawings with the same aspect of my hobby, but then ended up using ibisPaint, and I've ended up amassing a lot big following on TikTok because of the way I do the arts, and the style I do it is pretty unique. People are amazed by it, so it's good to have an amazing support. So this is just a realistic landscape, as you can see. I've tried to do this many times before, this landscape drawing. So I'm going to delete this. What I'm going to do is delete it, and we'll start fresh, blank canvas. What I do normally, this is episode 1. I'm just going to do the simple stuff for now. Start painting using the watercolor bleed. This is my favorite brush. I use it all the time. When I first used ibisPaint, I was like, whoa, look how many brushes there are. There's points, there's braids, there's gauze, there's clouds real. And I was just toying with it, toying with the shape, thickness at the start, thickness at the end. I was like, what the hell does blurring degree mean? What is shape? Why is it spacing? I was like, oh, spacing, if you go 1 pixel, it's just completely smudgy, but if you go like 53%, creates a lot of clouds. So like the pattern opacity, I don't know what that is, 0.5, you can't see anything. You have to tap like you're playing Osu or something, tap the screen like that, competitive mode. And then pattern opacity 100%, you just tap once and then everything appears. I am very fast paced. Add 1 video clips to make your own video. No, I don't want that. Should turn off do not disturb actually. I'm using an iPhone 16, so where's do not disturb? Oh yeah, do not disturb is on. 25 years old. Hello ladies. Sorry. So select opacity, right? I don't know why. I don't really care what it is. I just use select opacity, use a liquify tool, make the radius 4096 pixels. Select opacity again, just do that. Just start selecting opacity and just smudging the drawing all over the place. Smudging, selecting, smudge, select, repeat, keep repeating this select opacity. It's in the dotted symbol up the top right next to the stabilizer. I don't use this. I don't use the rulers, they're very bad. I don't really care about the materials. I don't like AI. I don't like stolen artwork. I like traditional artwork. I despise AI sometimes because of how easy it is for people to make it. Anyone can make art now. Even that, look, if you go here, there you go. Imagine something. Disco, see? It starts generating. And then, whoa, hey presto, you can just copy, go back into ibisPaint, and then click paste, and then you have it. So, yeah, select it. But what I do is select opacity. I want to create some rocks, okay? And then I want to have an outline, rocks and beach. So I want to have water. With the water, I go back, neon opacity, make the radius 100. You can have a look at the schematics and everything of this brush, you know. Don't change anything else, just go shape. It's in the brush. There's 387 brushes, that's a lot of brushes. But there's add opacity, make sure that's on. Constant opacity, make sure that's on. Spacing less than 3 pixels, make sure that's on. Max spacing, make sure that's on. And then I want to go new layer. I want to go blue, or black. Actually, I'll do white, you know. Then draw a line, okay. Go new layer, and then I'm going to go back to the felt tip pen, and then just start scraping some lines, just scratching the canvas. Here we go, scratching it. Scribble even, make some scribbles. Alright, I'm going to go special tool. I'm going to go to the copy pen fix, change the shape to airbrush or pen digital, make a maximum spacing, then just tap the screen really fast. Okay. Go and liquefy pen, select the opacity. Okay. Now I did too much. I'm going to undo a little bit. Alright, select, invert. Then I want to make this black. So I'm just going to paint it black like that. Make it as black as possible. Then you go transform. Okay, use the special tools, liquefy, transform. Actually, I want to go. Yeah, never mind. Okay, select, transform, and just transform. Don't select. Just go transform, like that. I usually rush very fast, quick. Someone said I quit using ibisPaint because there's too many sweats, and I am sweating hard doing this. So here we go, trying to impress the people on YouTube, all the digital artists who would critique everything. Alright, there's a bunch of scribbles. People are like, what? It looks ugly. No, it doesn't, because if you go select, if you go invert, you use the smudge tool. Oh, look at that. Then transform and use the smudge tool again. Transform. And then select. Alright, what am I doing again? Water. So, remove selection. Use the emboss tool. Brightness and contrast. And then I want to make it blue. Change the mono color to blue. Then go brightness and contrast again. Unsharp. And then change the spacing. Go transform. And then go blur tool. Delete that. And I want to erase. Then I want the foam of the water, so foamy bits like bubbles. I just easily get more scrape the screen. You know, making some waves. You want to have some more curves. And then you go select opacity and then go transform. Select. Transform, select, nudge to the left, transform, select, nudge to the left, transform, select, nudge to the left, transform. Okay. And then remove, duplicate, invert, merge down, smudge, merge it down, history, go to the history tool, go like chromatic zooming, then go replace color. At the region that you want the darkest part to be in is here, and then change the monocolor to white or blue or gray, and then unsharpen. I want the sharp looking wave. Unsharpen it, and then you want to just go like select. I want to duplicate the layer from opacity, and then merge it a bit, smudge it, duplicate, merge down, duplicate, merge down, duplicate, merge down. select invert, remove, change the brightness and contrast a little bit. See, that looks really cool, but like you want to make the contrast a little bit less. 73% is good. Duplicate the layer, and then you transform it again. And these are like waves, even more waves, so you want to transform it behind, and then just change the opacity. So then we want the waves kind of crashing into the rocks, so you want to merge this one. I want the water layer number 2 to be over layer number 1. You merge that down. You then duplicate the layer, and then what I do is I clear the grayscale, select the opacity, merge it up a bit, just nudge it a little bit, and then go cut, remove. And then you want to go use the smudge tool. You want to go select, you want to go invert, you want to then smudge it a little bit more, remove the selection, duplicate the layer, duplicate merge to create this darkened effect. And then you want to go duplicate, invert, merge down, smudge, merge down again, select the opacity, and then select and then invert as you're nudging. So nudge to the right, select, nudge left, go filter, and then go change the monocolor as well. Click tick, and then you want to go bevel. See the bevel tool? Now it creates this awesome looking, now it looks like water. First of all, see? And then you want to move it underneath the foam. This is going to be white foam, and then select. And then you want it to have it right at the edge. See how the foam is working above the water? Yeah, kind of merge both of them down. I don't really know how the waves would be crashing into the rocks, but you can see that there is waves at least, and it looks like water if you squint your eyes. Then you want to duplicate the layer, you want to clear the grayscale, and then because I want to have like a cool looking seamless effect, I want to go alpha lock, smudge, and then you want to go like emboss, oh not emboss, replace color, yeah, and then change the monocolor to create like a more, yeah, highlights. You make it 65%, duplicate it, change a new layer, make it add, use the blur tool, and then move that down, yes. Duplicate the layer, clear the grayscale, select opacity, and then cut, remove, select, invert, and then darken it. I want it to be inverted layer to be dark. You go transform, liquefy, transform, and then you just nudge it a little bit, transform, move it, transform, and you can see the outline of the water that looks 3D. So then you go like, you can use a smudge tool, but you want to make it subtle. So you're gonna go transform and then smudge, transform and then smudge, and then you can apply the chromatic zoom and then go replace color, and already you've got like green looking like water or blue water or whatever color. So you can do that, or there's many ways. You can duplicate it, invert, and then go select, invert, and then you nudge it down a bit, and then you go black, you paint this area black, and then nudge it down, paint it black, nudge it down, or you can just delete this, remove, select, invert, and then transform, select, invert, transform, select. This is the better effect, this is the best looking one in my opinion. Select, invert, transform. You can see the effect. You go on sharp, and then you click the opacity, invert it. Yeah, that looks more like water, I guess. Then you just, I was using the wrong layer, but erase. And then I want to just duplicate the layer from canvas, and you can change the gradient. I want to apply more of like a blue and then the cyan color, and then just change it around. Change it maybe. No, I don't think the gradient tool looks really good. It kind of looks like someone spilled juice on the ground or something. I'll keep it like this for now. You can invert it. That looks really cool within itself. But go back to the rocks. I want the rocks to look like really cool. So I'm gonna just transform it and then squeeze it a little bit. You can make it sand or rocks, or you can, whatever it's called. You duplicate the layer, invert, select invert, and then you smudge. Remove, select invert again. You change it to white. You go transform, smudge, or nudge. I'm basically moving the drawing and then repeatedly selecting transform. It's not a drawing, it's like a filter, a mess of filters. But yeah, see, you can, then you want to click on sharp or tap on sharp mask, chromatic zoom, replace color. So that's going to be the underneath, what the rocks look like underneath. And then I'm going to check this layer again, unsharp, chromatic zooming, replace color, and desaturate it, change the brightness a little bit, and then I'm going to paint this completely black. Go to the selection layer, use the add, and use a lasso tool. Lasso sounds like cowboys. Cowboys using lasso to catch like criminals or outlaws. Then you just use the copy pen fixed. See how I'm creating rocks? I want like pebbles or rocks, or change the size of the rocks to make it. I want like a bump map effect without having a bump map, if you know what I mean. I like to use this technique where you just go transform, you transform and then smudge and then transform, and then you use the smudge tool, and then you want to go chromatic zoom, replace color, and you can see the 3D outline of the rocks. This is not how you paint rocks at all, and best to follow what artists do. See, the rocks look kind of, it's really realistic. You might think, well, I'm done, this is cool, I'm copying what you're doing, but it's best to follow professionals who know how to paint rocks, because I'm just trying to experiment with filters. You want to go like that, and then we want to change it to an overlay. So then, and then you want to unsharpen it. So this is like the effects. This whole time I was trying to make cracks, or so instead of unsharpening it, I want to set the blending to maybe a pin light, or darken a darker color. And then I want to emphasize a darker bit by painting a light color, and then just clearing the grayscale, and then painting white, and then just painting the darker areas like that. I don't think that's how I do it, but if I go select opacity, it would, the cracks will become the alpha selection. Oh, I want to invert it then. That's more like it. So right, and then I invert this and then make it white again. Right, and then I want to unsharpen it. There we go. This is what it looks like when it's normal, and this is what it looks like when the darker color is applied to it, which kind of changed the entire shape around. So that whole process was for no reason, where I was making the cracks appear. But this is how I do all my artworks. I just experiment. I make stuff up as I go, and then see what looks best based on my experience. Yeah, so then just want to do that. Just go to really create this 3D effect. Maybe remove some areas here, and then clear the grayscale. Select, nudge it, then cut it. Remove, select, invert. Smudge it a bit, change the opacity, remove, duplicate, make it normal, clear the grayscale, change this to a normal, and then duplicate, make it white, merge it down, replace color, change the mono color. Oh no, oh yeah, good. So this is just shading for the rocks. And to emphasize the coloring of it, see? And you merge all of them like that. You duplicate the layer, you go clear grayscale again, duplicate, invert, select, move it up a bit, cut, remove, select, invert, remove, merge down, replace the color. Now this is the sand. So you want to just erase. So it will be, you can change the composition, so it'll be like sand to rocks or rocks to sand. It looks a bit too dark, so I want to change the color. There we go. Again, this is unpredictable. So no, I don't want that. Maybe erase here. You're just playing around at this point, seeing what works best. See, the sand is obstructed, too much sand. You want to have like a good ratio. Remember, in the art you need the rule of thirds, but you want to have like a good ratio of elements. You can't have too much of one thing. Like too much water with less rocks, or too much rocks. And you want to move it like that. So now it looks like the water's going over another layer of water. That's what I'm trying to go for. But you can even change, I just want this part, so you go color range. I just want that part to be more white. And then I want to just smudge it in so it looks like it's coming in. So create this depth, overlapping depth. Use a liquefy tool, you transform, remove, and then you want to unsharpen that. Yeah, so now it looks, yep. blur it a bit, and then you want to duplicate the entire layer because it's kind of flat at the moment, and I want to just transform it using the perspective transform so it looks like it's going to the horizon. Yes, good. Delete the rest of the layers. This is perfect. Okay, now I want the sun, so you go add. There's a blending mode. Here it is. I want the sun to reflect on the water. There are billions of ways to do this. Okay. My way is to just, sometimes I would just use the color range and then just, drag it down. That's cool, isn't it? What I want to do to make it accurately reflect is you go duplicate layer, clear the grayscale, select the opacity, smudge it a bit, cut it, remove, then duplicate, merge, repeat this several times. Then duplicate the layer and drag it up a little bit. Invert. Select opacity. And then you drag it down. Now each part is being reflected on. You can even see how and then use the smudge tool. You want a new layer, you go add. And you just start painting lines across. And a new layer, go add. Now the water's not finished yet, so I want a horizontal line like that. Then I want to emphasize the waves a bit, so I'm just painting some waves by just drawing streaks. So draw a bunch of streaks to go across the screen. Copy pen, get more of these around, select, invert, then transform. Use the smudge tool so it looks like it's going in. This is basically the 3D effect of the water. Select invert. Select color range and click subtract. This is a lot of trial and error to do it as perfect as you can. Now transform it. I want to change that color. Pay attention to the highlights and shadows of it. So you want to change the contrast, brightness and contrast, and then I want it to be more sharp. So this is a glistening effect of the water. And then I want to just remove. So this is the ocean water. So then you change the opacity. And then you remove the part that has the waves going across it. by using the erase. Just erase this. And duplicate it. So now we created the horizon by just stretching it the both sides really far. And then using the color range, you go new layer, we then set the blend mode to add. And just paint. And you change the fuzziness level to create the foreground of the shining effect. And then you paint, and it will come together very shortly, see? And you use liquify tool if you want. And see how it's coming together. It looked unrealistic at first, but then as you continue to experiment, the idea is to achieve an overall level of detail. So then I want to maybe have clouds that would look like the sun is reflecting off the clouds. I would use the watercolor bleed. I would transform it, adjust the perspective, and then select opacity. This could be bad or good. You smudge it a little bit, or cut. Or maybe actually a better idea is to duplicate it, invert, select, nudge it upwards, and then cut, remove. Change this color to black and this color to white. You go smudge, invert, and then you sort of move it down a bit. And then you want to merge it and go replace color, and it would know which is white and which is black. And then you change the fuzziness. And this is the highlight, so the sun is around this area. Then you change the color to white, and then you invert, clear the grayscale, and then invert again. And you've got somewhat of a, like a fuzzy looking cloud. You just want to blur it. And then you go over a new layer. You paint over the sun. And these are more puffy cumulonimbus clouds. So you want to just paint upwards. Use the smudge tool. Smudge the lower parts of the cloud. Then you invert, select, nudge upwards, cut, select, and then paste, nudge upwards, then go white, nudge it upwards, go white, move it up, and then just tap on the edges of the cloud. Now it looks like the edges are being casted on by the sun. Then you do the opacity, not the opacity, brightness and contrast, and then you go add and merge this layer down, select, invert, and then transform. So then I'm now pulling the area backwards to create the clouds that look like it's actually gravity's being affected by the clouds. Select, remove, duplicate the layer, and then drag this cloud a little bit down, merge it, and you can add whatever you feel like adding. If you want to make the sun being affected by the light, you can then just have a color range, and then you go darker blue, and then you use the neon opacity tool, invert the selection. This would now, I want to create, what's it called, like how the sun is, the darker parts of the cloud versus the lighter parts of the cloud, like the shading of it. You want to shade the clouds, you just use the color range to do it, to define the shadows. And then you're almost done, or you're pretty much done. And then if you watch this video again, you now get the idea of how I do my art. I can show you my gallery. Same deal, a lot of these take a lot longer. Some have, like, I just go all in and stay to 5 o'clock in the morning, just having some of these have 100 layers. Remember, this is part 1. In the later parts of the videos, I'll explain to you some more complex tutorials, like how I do this water fountain, or how I do this desert scenery, where you can see the clouds are actually being affected by the light, exactly like how real life would work. So it's a lot of imagination, trial and error, applying various effects, like these ones where I applied the some of the grayscale manipulation that I used for the interpolating how they affect the rocks, and then the rocks that are being affected by the shading of the light. So there's some grayer areas, and then the shadows, and then the placement of the light. So this is not good lighting, because if you see the sun is behind but this is still bright, you need to make it more realistic, you will need to use a color range, and then darken the areas by going duplicate layer from canvas, affecting the brightness and contrast, and then using the smudge tool, possibly without having shadows. You can then select, without drawing shadows manually, I'm saying, select an invert or something like that, and continuously select opacity, and sharpening it a little bit, and then using the color range tool, and then smudging the color range tool like that, and then you just use the liquify pen, and then you want to create some shadows like that, and then you want to erase the upper area of here, see. And I do this because I usually focus on what I want to achieve, and it's very hard to explain what I want to focus on. So I did this cathedral. This had a lot of views on TikTok, and even after I was completing these, I was still experimenting with more effects and filters. And these are some of the earlier ones I've tried. Sunset photos, they look like photos, some people say. This one looks the most realistic in my opinion. Remove that. See how many layers you can see. So okay, the mountains as well is a good tutorial to show you how I do it. So you can move this layer up to the foreground, And this is using the Extrude parallel tool and the Select Opacity, selecting opacity, and the smudging and inverting as well. And even you can apply the replace color. So you can see the snowy mountain, looks like a snowy mountain. I'm good at creating an illusion that blends the drawings together. So I'm using unorthodox techniques to blend these drawings in a way that looks realistic. And yeah, this is about it. This is also another 100 layer video I did during the TikTok live. Spent maybe 5 hours on these. Yeah, they don't take long, but they take a lot of concentration. And in the later tutorials, I'll probably explain to you in more details, and I'll probably have a script. So I'll probably make a script and then explain this step by step in more detail, rather than going of what my mind tells me to do. This is another desert drawing I've done. Again, need a lot of layers. And you can see the background here. This is what I started off with. So each piece within itself is a really cool aesthetic. See? This is why it's like this is this complete in one layer. Just this part here. Bit of questions. I'm not good at doing characters, okay? But I'm good at shading clothes and seeing the darker areas apply to the whiter regions of the clothing, like a satin filter. This one as well is how I do the water, that I tried to use the select and invert with the coloring that applies. If you don't know what I mean, this is what I'm talking about. This is the water. No, this is not the photo. I did not import the photo, but yes, like this video if the next tutorial will be drawing water that looks like this. I do remember how to do this as well, and it is really cool. Like, this is I was like, why hasn't no one thought about this before? Then they think, oh yeah, God of ibisPaint, you're the best drawer. It's like, no. Yeah, okay, see, see how, just realize, wow, it does look like 3D water. Yeah, I will do an in-depth tutorial on how to do water that looks like this. So I know I'm rambling, and as a TikTok community would say, yapping a lot, but art is a lot about trial and error and a lot of explaining. It's very hard to explain art as well. This one as well, I would also show you how I do the trees in the background, see how they look 3D. So a lot of exciting things to show you in the digital art techniques. This sea, even after completing like a medieval town almost, I was still experimenting with effects. And you know, this is a reference, but no, it's not a photo. No, this area here is not AI. I've actually 175 layers. I've done it all. The process and the filtering and the effects and even the grass. This is not. I'm telling you again. This is not a photo. I did not import a photo. You can even tell the difference between a photo and this, and even the tiles as well. I'll show you how I do the beveling on the tiles. I'll even show you how there's this filter called the watercolor filter that applies on the color range using a transformed layer, and then you click grayscale, and then you click invert, and then you transform it again, and then use the sharpen tool, and it would outline, all the outlines will come together. That's how I did this castle as well. Drew an entire castle out of nowhere. And it's very easy to actually draw the tiles on the castle and make it look like a solid piece. And I'll even show you how I do the cracks around the castle. So there was no photos, no importing, no AI. There was no. I did this all in my mind with a simple reference. Like I just searched up on Google medieval town, and then I said, "Ah, yep, I know what to do from there." So yeah, it's a lot of layers. You can see it's hard to tell what the thumbnails look like, but they are very detailed drawings. Each part was really calculated as well. Some were like, so with my pieces, I would be like calculated, filters, knowing what filters to use and everything, and then some are just like experimenting. So it's a blend between experimenting and then applying what I think that looks cool in my eyes, would look cool to what other people would see. So digital art is a mix of aesthetics, a mix of what people interpret the art to be versus what I interpret it to be, what other people think about it. So it's all up to the imagination. Even this, I will make a tutorial on how I do this house as well, and how to blend the windows. Actually, I can do it now if you want. So basically, say you want a window somewhere. Okay, right here. Okay, just paint the entire area black. Use the smudge tool, smudge it a little bit, select opacity, and then use the color range, set it to subtract, and then use the transform tool. Invert, use the color range again, and then go transform. Do it multiple times, remove the selection, invert, color down, and then you go clear grayscale, or clear color, or clear whatever. And then you want to go extrude parallel, or unsharpen it. And then extrude parallel. I don't know where that I keep. It's like looking through a library. Okay, here we go. And select, and then you want to make it go into the wall. You can just continuously repeat the select opacity. In one direction, and pretty much see how they get the 3D effect. And then you want to go another window, another black. So selection area, use the lasso tool, smudge, select, remove, and then if you can apply a bevel and emboss filter, or you can just unsharpen it. And then see, it looks like a window going into it, into the building, like that. You can duplicate it, experiment with it. You can even have another window going inside that window, or a room that leads into a different room, so you can do like that. And then select opacity, maybe use the smudge tool again, using invert. Select and invert, and then you go history, go unsharpen again. And it looks like it's going inside to a different room. This you cannot really achieve that well in traditional art, but in digital art it's very easy to do, in my case. Replace color even, and then you can even replace color, and then see you can do some effects. Another effect I'll show you that my favorite one. Say you have a selection where you go smudge and you have a selected layer. You can go to the selection layer and actually manipulate it. You can use any brush, filter, whatever you want. Go back to here and transform, and move, and then transform, remove, and then just use your parallel tool, and you got like a 3D effect here. See? On this unsharp mask tool as well. And use the chromatic zooming, and then use the replace color. And select again, invert, remove, select, and you have like rocks or tree or a pebble or a crack or anything that looks 3D. And it looks cool at the end, like it looks realistic if you look hard enough. You know, use the extrude tool, and then here we go. I've just made like entire green field. Then use color range and then apply more filters. My mind. Some of these I've worked on the guide, the tutorials. I follow what people want, and yeah, you know, this one, not a photo. 95 layers. The only photo aspect is I want to add layer from canvas because I want to save it to the gallery. That's all. But yeah, look, I'll show you how to do the trees as well. This one is the best one. Very practical and easy to think about. And then I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I understand how the background blend the mountains together. There's white and blue, and then the contrast as well, and the trees and the everything. How to do it. This one as well. This is like a forest river with grass as well. This has 59 layers. So I average like 100, 200 layers, 59 layers. Yes, I said that right, 250 one time. 300 actually was the most I've done. This one as well, with the clouds, even the thunderstorm as well. So yeah, I'm just shifting through my gallery, showing what looks cool, what doesn't. This one, oh I did show you this already. Yeah, just see how realistic the clouds were. This one I say I kept experimenting, but this used to have 150 layers, but then I merged it all together, and yeah, this is one I use a reference for, like I did wave on beach, and this is again how the water crashes into the rocks. This is more toned up and 3D, and it's got the blue, and then I've went into great detail of drawing the intricacies of the cracks in the rocks. This is less experimenting with filters and more of the drawing. So I have a ratio. Sometimes I draw more than experimenting because I don't like to experiment way too much, because then you can see the difference between this one and experimental drawing like this, where it's just like a bunch of like things slapped together. But if you see that, if you zoom in, you see there's incoherency, just like AI when it generates an artwork. But here, the more you draw, the more natural and 3D it looks, and the more realistic it looks. So try to keep an eye on the drawing and how much I'm experimenting if you want to replicate what I'm trying to do. And yeah, that's it. I think this is the latest one I'm working on. So the one I just showed you. Actually, this is one I just tried to experiment with. And I also, if you go into my account, this is my account. I've done many artworks here. and I've uploaded them onto all my most of my artworks I've uploaded to TikTok that I find, and you can see some more if you want to have in-depth tutorials on TikTok, like short tutorials. You can have a look at these. In my earlier videos, I have uploaded tutorials that people wanted me to do, but they couldn't find it. They had no idea that I was actually doing the tutorial that they were asking for sometimes. So some of these are a blend of time lapses, effects, filters, and some of them are mediocre, some of them really cool, some of them experimental, some of them are like, see, it's very hard to explain stuff here, so I like to do voice, just explaining away, because doing text, you don't, no one can read these and no one understands what to do. But if you see me using what my thought process is while doing the drawing, it's way better. So if you want to follow me, here it is, Matt.TheDigitalArts, and you can subscribe to this TikTok live, but you'll be paying money, and I don't want you. I want people to cost minimal cost. Okay, we don't want to be paying a lot of money on this. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more tutorials. Stick around because I'll be doing these a lot more, and I'll be applying more practices, and they'll get better along the way, and they'll, like, the artworks will improve, and you will see that one day you'll be like, what's this photo? And it's like, no, it's not a photo, it's wait a minute, someone drew it, and then you'll be impressed because I'm still experimenting with filters. Alright, just watched my part 1, and that's it for today. See you later, and stay tuned for the next.